Hello, everyone. This is Mark Zachos speaking. Thank you for joining us today. Mark Zachos here at DG Technologies, but today we're talking Supercharged. This is episode 1, and we're talking about girls learning, engineering, and mentoring, GLEAM. And today our guest is Amalia Batori from Bosch. She's the sales director there. And we're going to have a follow-up conversation about a recent GLEAM panel discussion that took place Thursday, October 22nd. Amalia, welcome to the discussion. You're happy to have you today and looking forward to what you've got to say about this GLEAM activity. So if you could just give us, first of all, a little introduction. I know you're with Bosch, and you're also a fellow board member at SAE Detroit section and very active with AWIM. Could you give us a little more background, and then we'll launch into some more details about what this GLEAM is all about?
Hi, Mark. It's really nice being here with you today. I'm excited to have a follow-up conversation about GLEAM. As you already mentioned, I work with Bosch as a sales director, and also I am a board member of the SAE Detroit section involved with K-12 initiatives such as GLEAM and AWIM. I've been a part of the SAE community in different functions for almost 10 years. And I have to say I really enjoy being a part of a welcoming community of people who come from a variety of different STEM fields. I always look forward to interact with volunteers like you, Mark, from SAE. I'm always excited to be a part of this great community.
Well, that's a great beginning there. I wanted to take a step into and queue up a slide about this GLEAM event. Can you tell us how did it all come about? Was it your idea? How did this event come about? And the other participants and who was on this panel? And give us an idea. Also, what do you think? What's going to be next for the GLEAM discussion?
Right. So you see here on the screen that we had a GLEAM panel on October 22nd. So what GLEAM stands for? GLEAM stands for Girls Learning, Engineering, and Mentoring. We intended this as a face-to-face in-person event because of the situation currently with social distancing environment. We decided to still go ahead and switch it to a virtual event. GLEAM is meant to help promote networking and mentoring across topics that are of interest to, especially of interest to women in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and to provide an opportunity to learn and ask questions from professionals in this field. I've been helped by mentors along the way for my career, and this is a way to pay forward to help girls learn more about STEM careers and encourage them to explore those careers.
Yeah. Sorry, so you had a lot of these fellow career women on this panel. I guess you guys decided that this was so important that you put together this event. Is this something that's going to be ongoing for you on this community? Is that part of the story and future for GLEAM?
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I am hoping to see more events, virtual events for now. maybe with women from different STEM fields. The women shown here, Maura, Missy, Laura, all engineers, the same as me. I am also an engineer from my education. So we were able to speak from our perspective, from the perspective of a woman engineer, how we evolved after college and a bit about our life in college. And why is that important? I would say many times women engineers find ourselves a bit of a minority, whether it's at school or at work. And that could maybe be difficult at times. And for that, I believe it's really important to learn how to create a network, how to reach out for support. Engineering and STEM is such a beautiful field. It would be really, really a pity for women to not go into those fields or to leave those fields just because, they feel alone. So somehow we need to create this community, this welcoming environment, so women can also reach their full potential in those fields.
So it's more than just role models. It's a community. It sounds like that. You're putting together and interacting with, and there's that purpose behind that community. So let me ask you, from your point of view, I know in the panel, there was a discussion on an engineer's background, the different roles of engineers. What's the purpose of an engineer anyway? Is there somebody that gives you purpose, or is that something you adapt from a role model? And if I could you offer up from a female engineer's perspective, being, where I sit here, it's kind of like, well, I think I know the answers, but there's probably something distinctly different that male engineers are missing. And I'm very curious if you have some thoughts in that area.
Sure. I talked about this a bit during the GLEAM panel. I went into engineering because I felt that it gave me a purpose, the purpose I was looking for at that time, a chance to learn how things work and solve problems. And that makes it easier. Nothing is easy in engineering school, but knowing that you work for a certain purpose, solving problems, solving problems, that gives a certain purpose and helps move through the rougher patches of that engineering school.
School is hard and life is hard and all the things on top of this, and then trying to solve challenging math problems or try to figure out what do you want to be when you grow up. It's all about that, I know. So exposing students at an early age to math and science and the world of possibilities that, as an engineer you could solve. And I know that the ladies that I work with, the female engineers I work with, they always have some very intriguing angle, let's put it that way, in solving problems, things that I just really don't think about.
Right.
I don't know where that comes from, but it's really enjoyable to be part of that diverse team.
Yes, I also found out, Mark, that and it's not only my opinion, it's probably a studied fact that Having diverse teams actually help on, bringing results, better results. So I think that is known. What we need is to encourage more women, to build this pipeline of women going into STEM. Mm-hmm. Many women come out of the STEM schools and they just leave the field. Mm-hmm. So it is a reality. It is a reality, and what we do here, I'm sure, is not going to solve the whole problem, but for sure we want to be a part of the solution. And I am very happy that with the help of SAE section and with the help of other volunteers like the women engineers in the panel last week, we were able to actually put together this event. Mm-hmm. And we are hoping, like I said, to have more in the future.
Right. So let's talk about as engineers, let's talk about the inputs and the outputs, right? So the function of enabling more students, more girls to enjoy the opportunity to learn about engineering or learn about science and math, that starts quite an early age. And SAE has a program, award-winning program, that they've begun many years ago called A World in Motion. My daughter, who's now a sophomore computer engineer at University of Michigan, she actually participated in that AWIM program. I can tell you it was a great experience. Whether that provoked her to go into engineering, I don't know. Can you talk about a little bit on the AWIM and what that really means? And then I'll ask you another question and say, okay, well, coming out of that through college, I mean, the output function. So what is AWIM anyway?
Sure. AWIM stands for A World in Motion. It's basically a collection of various hands-on STEM programs created by the SAE Foundation. Those programs are made to be fun, engaging, but they are also aligned to the educational curriculum for the schools. There are programs for students starting in kindergarten, and they are appropriate for that particular age group. I also got involved in the program first with my daughter when my daughter was in 3rd grade in elementary school. Bosch is a supporter of AWIM. I was already working for Bosch. And during one of their volunteer recruiting events, I learned about the program, and I was really excited to learn that I can actually offer it and volunteer to my daughter's school. So that was just perfect win-win situation where I could volunteer as a full-time working mom. I was always looking for opportunities to volunteer in my daughter's classroom, and now I actually had that opportunity created and enabled by my employer, so I could actually do it during the working time. So it was really, really great. And so there are multiple programs. Maybe we can place a link, with this presentation. So if people want to check it out, there are so many different programs. There are also some special programs more recently put together for more often stay-at-home situation that we are in right now. Typically, however, AWIM is run in the classroom. The teacher has a important role, obviously. The teacher runs the classroom. However, us as industry volunteers, we are there to help her run those small programs. Students enjoy it because it's fun, because it's competitive, and because they learn and they get to talk to people who actually work as engineers. There are typically tons of questions and we always have fun with it. So hopefully we'll be back in the classroom again next year.
So Amalia, great background there. And of course, become an engineer. There's an offer there. And any of those engineers out there, become a volunteer engineer. And SAE always welcomes that from anybody. You don't have to have a child in the school there. So once, let's say a young lady has at least a cursory background, some interest in math and science, and some background in maybe engineering, like to learn a little bit more. Could you offer some of your thoughts in the panel discussion on how you brought that from a little more to maturity? Is that when you picked a university, when you picked a college, you picked a study, did you know right off the bat, I'm going to be a mechanical engineer? Or there must have been some things that you have to work through yourself, and then have some kind of support network, or at least somebody to talk to that gives you that understanding is, hey, I'm interested, can I learn more? And as I'm in university and in college, help guide me through the pathway. How did that work
absolutely. For me? For me, and that's something maybe I had in common with a panelist, but that's not necessarily a must. I loved math. I loved to be involved in whatever my brother, frankly, was involved. Maybe this has to do something with having a brother older who went into engineering, actually the same university. So yeah, for sure. So it's important to have that role model. But I just felt that engineering is something that I would enjoy and I would be good at. And what's really important, no one discouraged me. And that's really, really important, right? Because the society can give us many different messages, and some could be discouraging, even if we do not mean to give those messages. So I believe that's really important, and that helped me going into engineering, following in my brother's footsteps was seen as absolutely normal. Maybe once my mom asked me if I'm sure I don't want to go into medicine. I said, I'm sure.
Okay, that's a good profession too. Yeah.
So it's what's important for the child, and it's good to have role models that encourage us, or we can look up to.
Well, I think that's a common thread listening to that panel discussion, which, by the way, is posted through the SA Detroit section YouTube channel. I think your fellow panelists had the same similar background, the same observations, maybe, again, the learning of, what exactly kind of engineer I want to be. One of the panelists, she said, well, I knew right off the bat I wanted to be mechanical engineer on a racing team. And, not everybody can be, so certain of themselves, but that support network, maybe that's part of the thing that GLEAM helps to facilitate. There's also Society of Women Engineers and other opportunities through the college years to make it at least clearer for the young ladies to see there is a pathway, and it's not just like rigor, it can be fun too, right? Did you have fun being an engineer? Don't you have fun?
Oh, absolutely. I did have fun, and I still have fun. And why? Because I just found and looked for what works for me. And that's the message we want to bring, because when we go with isGLEAM in the classroom, we have about 5-6 sessions, depending on what the teacher wants to do. But the first session always includes information about what engineers do, and we speak about what we do, and we do all kinds of stuff. We are Bosch has probably more than 200 volunteers. You can imagine it's a big diversity of jobs that we do. And that's good because that opened up, I hope that it opens up and brings that understanding that the engineering job is not just, can be put in a little box. There are so many different types. And then another important factor is that with the base, as a base, an engineering school, you can really build a career. Even if it's like right now, I work in sales, I work in project management. Before that, I worked in quality, launch management, APQP, you name it, product management. Why? Because I realized that I really like to learn how things are connected, and to bring a product from design all the way to manufacturing to developing, manufacturing, and then into our hands as consumers, you need a lot of different skills and a lot of talent. And that is important to show how many different types of engineers are out there and how many opportunities are out there.
Right. So one of the things you talked about also during the panel is just that topic and working through the understanding that, okay, I want to be an engineer, or you can be an engineer. What kind of engineers are there, and what is there? Mechanical, electrical, computer, civil engineering, and then another factor I think you talked about is, well, even with an engineering degree, maybe you through your life journey, you'll decide, hey, I want to do something a little different. I want to use my technical background to go into medicine or go into a law profession or something like that. So I would say, boys or girls, don't neglect engineering as a profession, because if you change your mind later in life, you can really lean on that background. So you talked about you were a math teacher or something like that?
I was actually for the first year after college, I was actually a math teacher, and that was mainly driven by the economic conditions I am originally from Romania. So it was a situation of that nature, and it was very difficult to find. It was an economic crash, more or less. So what I learned, and that's what I want to basically share this, is that with my degree, I felt like I can branch into many other fields. And me being for 1 year a math teacher, there was no question about my abilities, because everyone knew, coming from an engineering school, there is tons of math and calculus and you name it, and that prepared me to be a math teacher. I did that for 1 year. It was fun, not necessarily a calling. I did not feel like that's something I want to do, so I moved on. But in general in life, I feel like I was able to transfer the skills, the education, into whatever role then I wanted to learn more of. So I really want people to consider engineering not necessarily as a job, but as a strong, robust base. As the first step, and from there on, people can branch into many areas. You can see in this chart, and again, maybe the best way would be for us to share a link. I thought this was a very fun way to show how many different careers are out there. There is even more information. Maybe the chart is a bit small, but you can also see some information about salaries, some information about how those fields are projected to grow in the next years. I believe the chart is from 2018, and the projection was for 10 years until 2028, I believe. And I thought this was a fun way to share how many types of engineering jobs or STEM jobs in general are out there.
One of the things not shown on the chart is the salary projections. So I know I always tell people, no matter what you go into, you got to enjoy it. You know, why pick a career path that you're unhappy with, whether it's engineering or some other path? You know, you need to be happy with that. So we've heard about the shortage of engineers in this country, and we know that there's there is a great opportunity for young ladies to especially move into the engineering profession, and they get paid pretty well, don't they?
Yes, actually the chart has information about pay. It's very small. You might not be able to see it. You might need to enlarge it, but there is actually information about pay. And there is definitely a big incentive to go into STEM in terms of compensation. What we see in terms of women going into the STEM degrees, especially for engineering and computer science, there is still a significant gap with only about 20% of degrees being awarded to women in these fields. In some of those fields, there is a shortage of talent. There are many job openings right now for software engineers, for computer scientists, and so forth. Data scientists, right? So there are those new fields coming, and there is a shortage of talent. So encouraging women to pursue those fields could actually resolve this shortage of talent.
So one of the things we have to reach back to our audience and ask them to please connect with us at SAE Detroit section. And we're going to ask that the connection is, well, first from the students. So if you're a young lady that's maybe watching this and thinking about a career in STEM, you know, there's some resources available through SAE organization. If you're someone who's approaching their college careers or in college and want to continue to maintain a network, the ladies here are offering an opportunity to connect through the GLEAM panel and all the other resources that are out there available, not just SAE, but Society of Women Engineers, etc. And then continue on if you're thinking that you want to contribute as a volunteer, if you want to network and encourage the flow through and at least learning of students and girls to understand the opportunities out there, we reach out to the audience listening too for that chance to offer your volunteer skills. Maybe you'd like to come on camera or at least do something in the background to help mentor and help bring you know, the opportunities forward. So Amalia, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. I'd like to say that it's been a wonderful discussion with you, and couple of last points you want to make before we conclude?
Sure. Thank you so much, Mark. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And because you brought up the university students as well, I want to point out the GLEAM event. We would eventually like to have it face-to-face, in person. We would like to use it as a connecting point for high school students as well as college students, where we can maybe hold events in person at universities with the help of college students, and have this bridge not only the gap between women engineers and high school girls, but also the in-between, the college women who can then also speak and build stronger network during college. So we have, we hope to be able to connect more with college students. If anyone has an interest to connect with us, I believe we are going to provide some information at the end of this video, and I would really encourage them to reach out. And like you said, volunteers are always welcomed. This is just one program. We spoke about GLEAM and we spoke about AWIM. The SAE section has a really enthusiastic staff and group of volunteers, and they are always looking for ideas for events, technical events, community events. Reach out and you will be welcomed.
Well, thank you, Amalia. Thanks for the very interesting discussion today. Thanks everyone for joining us. The SAE Detroit section links here that you'll see on your screen. You will find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social sites here. We enjoy the opportunity to interact with our community here in Metro Detroit, and look forward to the next program for us all at SAE Detroit section. I wish you a wonderful afternoon and evening, and thank you for joining us.